Hey guys, Matt here from Sales Sniper, and today what we're going to go over is exactly how to identify objections. The key to overcoming objections like money, think about it, partner, is not only having a script in place and the ability to handle the objections as they come, but to be able to identify if it's a real objection or a fear-based or a smokescreen objection. So what I'm going to do today is walk you through my formula of exactly how I identify what objection you're dealing with so that you can go about it the right way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get more of this content, and cue the intro. All right, guys, so you got two main categories of objections. One is fear, the other is logistical. If you treat one like the other, you will not get a sale, and I'll explain why. If you treat a logistical like a fear, you're gonna push them too far and you're gonna make them uncomfortable. They're gonna start to think that you care about the sale more than you care about them. Very, very unproductive. They're going to end up just ghosting you or just not proceeding or getting a little bit angry with the process. And if you treat a fear like a logistical, then you're not going to be able to take them far enough down the road to shift the way they think into actually taking actions on the problems that they have. What do? Step one, we treat everything like logistical until it is not. The reason why we do this is because once we've gone through fear, we can't really go into logistical, so we have to treat the logistical thing first. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you get I want to check my finances objection. Okay, we hear that one all the time. It's a ridiculous objection. I could ask every single one of you out there in YouTube land exactly how much money you have in your account, you'd be able to tell me. So the first thing is don't buy into that narrative. That's ridiculous. Okay, second thing is we have actually got two objections. We've got a money and a think about it. They need to think about the money. They're going to check their finances, okay? So we're going to deal with money first. Money is a more straightforward objection, so we're going to deal with that. Once we deal with the money objection, and we're going to treat it as logistical, then we can go into the think about it, which is probably more of a fear-based objection, so we can get to that next. That's an example of how I would, I guess, sort of go through and identify what it is I'm actually dealing with. Okay, so what we're doing is we're treating it all as logistical. So let's say we get a money. I really need to check the finances. I really need to have a bit of a think about this. Oh, I don't know. It's a lot of money. Then what you would do is step one is get on the same side of the table. I've gone over this before. I have a podcast, which I'll link in the description, which goes deep into specific different types of objection handling. But you should have some usual loops and some way that you deal with certain objections like money, partner, think about it, all that kind of stuff, that bring them to like the people who have logical issues or like logistical issues, to bring them to the point where you can try an open wallet test where you should be able to get either a deposit, a payment plan, or a drop sell. You should have those loops in play. If you don't, I'm sure down here, once you've done your job, you should be able to then get them to a stage where they're opening their wallet and doing something. Now, if you've gone through and you've tied off every single logistical and logical outcome and they're still not moving forward, chances are you're dealing with a fear-based objection. Okay? So what do we have to do for a fear-based objection? We have to reframe their brain, and we have to kind of scramble their brain a little bit to think differently. It's kind of a funny thing to say, but essentially, if I can explain it to you like this, you take someone who's overweight, and if you are overweight, I apologize, this isn't going to feel good. Okay, so if you're overweight, it's because you make poor choices around food and exercise. Okay, so it's all the decisions that somebody has made that make them overweight. It's a series of decisions. That's what's happened. It's too much food, it's not enough exercise, whatever it may be. Okay, and so we have to identify the fact that all of our decisions and choices have led us to be in the position that we're in. Okay, so in order to be in a different position, we have to make different choices. We have to make different decisions. So we use a series of analogies, reframe stories to get a person to easily identify and see themselves in a particular story so they can have a better understanding and a more visualized approach to changing how they think so they don't continue to make the same choices which has led them to be where they are. And I'll go in depth in this in the podcast, okay, but I'll give you a couple of analogies that work really well for me. And the first one is the island analogy. And so if we can picture ourselves on an island, let's say just on an island surrounded by water, we can see 17.1 nautical miles around us. And that's all we can see. All we can see is water. Every single decision that you made would be based off that worldview. You're just a dude on an island surrounded by water, okay? So now, if you want to see the world for what it is, you have to be on top of a mountain, let's say. So the hard thing for you is that you can't see the mountain, let alone even know that it's there. But in order to see the world for what it is, like, you have to figure out a way to get there. So the first thing you have to do is, one, believe the mountain exists. If you don't believe the mountain exists, you're never even going to try, okay? So we have to believe that we can do it. Because if you're not going to believe in you, like, who is? Okay? And the next thing we have to do is we have to pick a direction and start going. We have to take action on that, on the belief that we can do it. By allowing ourselves to know the mountain is there and believe that we can get there and start to pick a direction, we have to buy the boots. We have to, you know, strap it on. We have to train. You know what I mean? We have to get ourselves ready to go there. And then we have to pick a direction and go. We can just keep walking around that island forever. And our worldview is never going to change. What we see is never going to change. Our life experience is never going to change, get worse, get better. But if you want to be able to see the world for what it is, if you want to get to your goal, if you want to be able to live a better lifestyle, lose weight, make more money, be a better parent, whatever it may be, you have to start walking in the direction, and you have to put yourself in the best position to be able to achieve that outcome. Doesn't mean you're going to get there, but you have to put yourself in the best position to be able to achieve the outcome. And that's a really, really powerful reframe, because first of all, whenever you're like selling something or whenever you're wanting to do something, there has to be a congruency between your speech and your actions. Like, really what we're trying to do in sales when we get to a think about it objection, and we are selling products or putting people into a business that we know is in their best interest. We're not selling snake oil, used cars, any of that kind of crap. This is in their best interest. So we have to believe that first and foremost. And we have to get them out of their own way, because people will fight tooth and nail to stay in their comfort zone. It's up to us as salespeople to get them out of it, and we have to have the tools in our tool bag to help them through it. Overweight people do not just become fit and healthy. They need someone to help them, but they have to make the choices, and they have to see that it's their choices that are holding them back. People who are not successful in business, they're not making the correct choices. Right? So, and that's what we're here as salespeople to do. We're here to allow them to make the correct choice. Summary. We need to be able to identify objections. We need to be able to identify logistical objections, identify fear objections. We need to have some loops and some strategies to get them from logistical into the fear, and then have a way of overcoming both. And you have to do it seamlessly. You have to be able to be really calm the whole time. You can't get flustered. That's how we're going to overcome these objections. There's no crazy strategies behind it. It's simply just understanding and identifying what you're dealing with. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Check out the podcast in the link below. We have a whole bunch of those stories and reframes and all kinds of good stuff for you to listen to. I hope you have an awesome day, and Matt out.